Sorry to interrupt your patrol, soldier.
I'm not gonna talk.
We don't need you to talk. We need you to listen.
I should have gotten captured a long time ago.
Your brother doesn't think much of you, Jake. I was just curious. How is it he's a hotshot commander and you're the smart one? If you believe your propaganda, you won't believe this. But the Brotherhood is only interested in peace.
Your brother's in it for the glory. A real hero fights for peace.
I want peace.
We need you, Jake. We see what GDI doesn't.
We see the undiscovered warrior.
And we're willing to give you everything to come fight for us. Power, divination, respect. Everything.
Data burst transmission from the inside. I did it. The perimeter will be down in an hour. All clear in an hour.
Nice work.
Take Amethyst, Slavic. Bring it to its knees. You will find in your control 3 ICBM launching platforms. You must get them to their assigned points inside the base.
GDI's Philadelphia space station will orbit overhead 3 times. You must get all 3 ICBMs in place and fire them before the 3rd orbit is complete, or they will have time to target and destroy you.
When the battle is finished, we will be victorious, and the technology of peace shall flow across the land.
Kane's vision is at hand. Unfortunately, GDI's orbital station, the Philadelphia, can stop the missile that will take us into the future. We must destroy the Philadelphia at all costs. The Philadelphia will require 3 orbits over this sector before it can locate our missile. You must get 3 ICBM launches into position before the Philadelphia's final orbit is complete. With the ICBMs in place, we can bring GDI's command station down. All this remains contingent, of course, on McNeil's helpfulness. You must pretend to pursue him back towards the GDI base. They will open the perimeter to let him in. Once he is in, he will deactivate the perimeter shortly thereafter. We suggest that the Brotherhood should not suffer the indignations of the past. In order to prevent history from repeating itself, you must steal the firing codes for GDI's ion cannon. Paranoid security measures prevent GDI from storing the entire code in one place. Therefore, use a Canadian spy to infiltrate 3 different comm centers. Once we have the codes and the spy is safely evacuated, we will be able to use GDI's ion cannon against them in the final assault. Unfortunately, GDI will have to use the ion cannon once before we can use the codes.
Welcome back, Commander. I unfortunately need to point out a few things, and I feel like this is kind of where the story to the game falls apart a little bit. But hey, if you made it this far, that's pretty good, considering, video games, the 90s. Regardless, first thing I want to point out, Jake McNeil literally gives up everything he's ever known for a woman who pays attention to him. This is why military families have problems, guys. Anyways, so Jake McNeil decides, drop of a hat, I no longer support the Global Defense Initiative, and I'm gonna throw everything away. Sure, fine. Second point I wanted to bring up, there's a reason why Kane and Oksana are never in the same room. Hint, they use the same gloves. I don't know if that's an actual reason. It's funny to me. And thirdly, it's very strange that a global defense initiative has the codes to their ion cannon being, it obviously separated, you can't have it all in one code, etc. And yet, they're all within the same area.
Unit lost.
Now, if you're trying to be smart about this, you're not going to have the chameleon spy go ahead, unguarded. And you certainly will take the time to kill the MSA first before you actually, send him ahead. Now, I believe I noticed it the last time we had a chameleon spy, which is if a chameleon spy goes into a Tiberium patch, it will damage him and thus drop his cloak. So be careful about that. Anyways, like I was saying, a little strange that a global defense initiative would only have its very important ion cannon codes in the same region, rather than having, say, one in North America, one in Northeastern Europe, and say another one in, well, maybe not Asia, because that's always, or not Africa, just because it's always been a problem for GDI, it seems. But regardless, point is that it feels a little weak in terms of story development. Another thing that's interesting with regards to the text, or at least briefing by Cabal, is that he says that the indignations of the past shall not repeat themselves. Which sort of implies that, yeah, actually the canon ending is Kane getting zapped by the ion cannon, rather than being presumed dead, crushed alive by falling debris.
Yes.
I guess theoretically it's possible that the ion cannon could have shot the Temple of Nod, which would have just caused, rubble or whatever, but it kind of nullifies. It first is at odds with the cutscene and how you actually unlock it in the first game, but also just seems kind of lame if you're gonna have like that sort of argument, considering everything we've seen and done with the ion cannon, so whether that's cutscene or in-game.
Unit lost.
Loud and clear. Yes, sir? No problem. Over here. Yes. Moving. I have waiting order.
The game's done this a number of times, and I kind of get why. Because the chameleon spy kind of comes out of a building as a new character. And that's why I always have to regroup it into its own control group. It's a little annoying how it does that.
Infantry reporting. Over here.
In a way, it's like a new unit. I think sometimes they keep their HP, I forget, but still.
Yes, sir?
It's more the fact that it happens, and it's
No problem.
slightly annoying. What's also slightly annoying is that you don't really get reinforcements in this level. So you kind of have to be really careful with, what you have at hand. If anything, it does make it way more tense. In other levels with a very limited force pool, sometimes they've been cakewalks. For example, some of the earlier Nod missions where you could basically just speedrun it by running to the end. You don't get that same sort of action or permission, so to speak, in this level.
Yes. Excellent. Moving.
Oh, and if you're wondering, yeah, the fire on the ground is what caused the chameleon to drop his cloak.
Yes, sir? Over here.
Now, thankfully for us, since we've gotten all the codes, all we need to do is go to the subterranean EPC that we heard about, which isn't too difficult, if I could actually spot where it was. And sadly, it's one of the few times that a vehicle shows up but isn't controllable. Because, I mean, what player wouldn't just take that subterranean APC, throw it up in the corner you're hiding in, and self-deliver yourself to the end?
Waiting orders. Infantry reporting. Over here. Sir. Over here.
Otherwise, though, this mission, it's a nice little palate cleanser.
Over here.
It's not overly difficult, and really, you just do it for the bonus that you get, which has already been mentioned in the briefing, and we'll see eventually in the next video.
Yes, sir.
But that nice little bonus is
Yes, sir.
more than worth the, 8 minutes it takes to play this level, not counting intro, outro.
Waiting order. Yes, sir.
That, and I guess you can just laugh at Jake McNeil being such an idiot.
Waiting order. Excellent.
I mean, seriously, with such loosey-goosey security regulations, they kind of deserve to get infiltrated.
Mission accomplished.